Welcome everyone, by the way. This is our monthly programming review that we love to do, get together. I enjoy this conversation, but we couldn't do it last month.
Nope.
Because you were
beginning
sick.
Of the year was not good.
You were sick as hell. And by the time
the second week my voice was even
the
toast.
day we were going to do it, you couldn't even talk. And then when we finally got around to doing it, we were already about a week and a half before you finally were about a week and a half in.
Let's just focus on the next
one. Yeah. Rather than me try and wing it with programming, I can do it. I can wing it, but I think it's best if
it's a better conversation.
Right.
So it's a better conversation.
It's a better conversation. So we're looking at February programming, and in this one we're going to talk a little bit about the Open. So that should be a good conversation too. I'm looking forward to that. Coach Jamie Lee, who writes all of the programming, head coach for Diablo and also for Progressive Programming, and Craig Howard, owner at Diablo CrossFit, where this stuff got its start. February's focus. Well, let's go back. January.
Let's talk about January since we didn't
January
talk
2018. The focus, which I liked, was front squats, power cleans, and then on the gymnastics side, our gymnastic strength was handstand push-ups. All three of those things for me, awesome. And I made improvements in all three of those things. So I'm super stoked about that.
There's a lot of improvements on that board.
Yeah. So it's funny because we were talking off camera before we started this, that in the first couple weeks of January, we didn't see many PRs up on the board. And then I walked by it yesterday. I happened to notice, first of all, I heard the bell a lot yesterday because yesterday we tested front squats for January. Today we're testing power cleans, which is cool. I'm looking forward to doing that tonight. And there's a ton of PRs.
Yeah.
And I also noticed PRs for Jackie on the board because we did the Jackie workout.
There's quite a few hang snatch PRs on there too, and that was that wasn't necessarily part of our overall goal of this month, but putting that in there as something just to kind of max out for the day. I think a lot of people saw a lot of carryover from other stuff that we've been working on.
Yeah. All in all, I feel like it was a good month program. Yeah. Most people, I made a point. I talked to a couple members, Terry O'Neill, for example, who's 62 or 63, and he said he made a point, like if he missed the strength day, he came and did it on open gym, he would do.
If that's your focus and that's what you really want to get out of it, you do have to make it that your priority. If you miss it, just come on in. It's the way to go.
Yeah. In the month of February, we're going to publish a written calendar that people will be able to use that'll have all of the strength days on it, the focus days on it, and then you'll be able to see the month in advance in writing, put a little check, but there'll be a checkbox there where you can check off the month and make sure you show up on those days or you get those lifts in.
Yep.
If you hit those lifts with intensity, you're going to make gains.
But not to forget the quality of movement, right? Yeah. We have to have the movement patterns, and essentially a lot of this stuff, especially as we go and talk about this next cycle, the beginning of the month is a time to really reinforce and rewire good movement patterns, which will then carry on over with the intensity.
Yeah. Be disciplined, and if your coach isn't watching you in class, ask them to watch. It's one of the things I like to do.
This is a great tool.
Well, that's the other one.
If you're lifting, grab the person next to you. Hey, film this for me, and then you can show the coach.
Yeah.
If they're working with somebody else and they happen to miss your lift, you got film. You can watch it yourself later too. It's a great way to practice that.
Jennifer Ismar had us in the class when we were testing front squats yesterday. She said have your partner film your front squat.
Awesome.
Right.
Perfect.
And we carry them around, and it's pretty amazing.
It helps you hold yourself accountable too, as far as like range of motion and stuff like that. Right. Sometimes we feel we may be hitting depth or range of motion, especially if mobility can be an issue. And having video footage to see whether or not we're getting there, it's good for you to know.
Yeah. So record your lifts. If you want to make progress in the lifts in the month of February,
make those dates.
And then hit your Metcons hard, right? Yep. Let's talk about February focus. So that's anything else on January that was interesting for you?
No.
Okay. All right. So
it's a rough start.
It was a rough start. There's a lot of sickness in the gym in February. I don't know about any other gyms, but man, there were a lot of people that were sick in January. So February's focus. Squat cleans. I don't even know if this is showing up on camera because we don't have the camera in front of us so we can see. Squat cleans, jerks, and toes to bar.
Yep.
So Those are the lifts. So squat clean's primary focus, jerks are the secondary focus, toes to bar, awesome.
Yep.
The third and final.
Yep.
That's great.
Essentially, the squat clean, I mean, you think of what the whole month of January was, front squats and power cleans.
Yeah.
Now we're going to combine the two of them. Coming off of our handstand push-up progression and building strength in that overhead, we can then carry that over into our jerk. Yeah. So the month of January was kind of a setup for the month of February.
I like that. My front squat needed work. And I tend to, like, if I train on my own or I go out to open gym and train, I'll hit back squats. I won't hit the front squats.
So you're cherry picking?
I'm cherry picking. So it was nice to go through that, but I feel a sense of confidence, like I'm ready to do squat cleans. And I know that my heaviest squat clean should be somewhere around my max of my front squat, right?
Yeah.
It definitely over my power clean.
Should be.
Yeah.
Should be over your power clean.
Yeah.
And one of the things that as we go into this month is, like I had mentioned earlier, enforcing mechanics early on in the month, is we're going to be doing a lot of stuff from the hang and taking the bar from the hang so we can really enforce the positions, making sure we're getting it to that first position, getting it to that power spot, high hip finish, instead of pulling it from the knees. So we want to try to continue to carry some of the principles that we talked about and worked on in January into the month of February with essentially some heavier loads.
Okay. It was so let's talk about the other kind of the elephant in the room for February. We have the first Open of 2019 that's upon us. Yeah. Diablo will be participating, and we do have an intramural Open planned. Details for that plan are forthcoming, but we will have at least 2 teams in the Diablo CrossFit Pleasant Hill location competing against one another, so that should be fun. Yep. But the Open's changed.
Yes.
And it's changed primarily because and the biggest impact is the elimination of the regionals and allowing people to qualify directly for the games in 2019 via the Open. So you can do the Open as an athlete and qualify directly for the games in the Open category. And you can do that 2 ways. One is if you are overall one of the top 20 men or top 20 women, then you qualify. Yep. If you are the fittest in your country, I think there's
what your was it your passport, what citizenship you hold?
Yeah, based upon what citizenship you hold. Based upon your citizenship, and I don't know how they're going to resolve dual citizenship. But based upon what citizenship, and maybe what citizenship you declare and hold.
True. From the start of the Open, from registration.
But so if you're the fittest in your country, which is there's 165 countries that have a CrossFit in it. Then you get to make it to the games.
Represent your country.
And represent your country. I really don't want to dwell on the games. Everyone can look all that information up and how that's going to go down. There'll be a lot of people there the first couple days. The last 2 days, it'll be the top 10 men and women. Yep. But if you are Dave Castro, and we know he's programming the game or the Open this year, if you're Dave Castro and you're writing this Open and you know that you need to, that you're going to send people to the games directly
straight from the Open.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on how that impacts the programming for the Open for these 5 weeks? And by the way, the Open is February
9th,
February 21.
21. Okay.
February 21st. That's the first workouts announced. Through March 25th.
25th. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me just confirm that.
Yeah.
The actually it's announced on Wednesdays, right?
Thursday night.
Thursday night. That's the 21st.
Yeah.
So February 21st through March 25th. If you're Dave Castro, or or thinking like Dave Castro, what are you thinking with respect to these workouts, and what differences do you think in your world that people should expect?
I think we could see some changes. Okay. Every year we tend to see something new. Like whether it's the rower, the first time the rower was ever announced, it kind of mind blowing. How are they going to show a machine like that on the Open?
Right.
The dumbbells, handstand walks. it's gotten a little bit more challenging as far as the movements that do show up in the open. And, that could be by design, considering, because it sounded like they kind of knew there was going to be some changes to the format. But I feel that this year we might see even more changes as far as the programming goes. Maybe some more complex movements. There may be more times where it's going to push some people to scale versus doing the RX version, versus like something like starting with handstand walks versus going through handstand push-ups. Like last year's the Diane with the deadlift and handstand push-up,
right,
and then the heavy deadlift and then the handstand walk.
Right.
I think we could see something like that just as the main event, coming out with a handstand walk versus push-ups,
right,
or as part of the first round instead of eliminating so many people to get to that point.
Yeah.
I think that we're also going to see maybe some heavier loading. A lot heavier loading, because that was one of the things that we've kind of always missed in some of the opens. Occasionally there's the heavy barbell snatch or a clean after a 9-minute AMRAP.
Right.
You have like 6 minutes to max out your clean and jerk, or the ascending snatch ladder kind of thing.
Right.
I think we'll see more heavy loaded WODs or even max outs. A few years ago we had the team series with the 2 minutes on, 2 minutes off, 2 minutes on, 2 minutes off. Where it was max handstand push-ups, toes to bar, and then the back squat.
Right.
I think we could see something like that. Like say maybe we have a CrossFit Total show up, because we're not going to be testing those things at regionals. They're not going to have to qualify that strength aspect. I mean, yeah, there's a little bit of strength in the open, but not to the extent of what they're testing at regionals.
Right.
I don't necessarily see too much change as far as the format, maybe a few programming differences, but I mean, when you look at the leaderboard from the open and you look at the leaderboard from, the games, you do tend to see a lot of the top athletes at the top.
Right.
So they've got it dialed there, but I think with the regionals being gone, they're going to have to fill some of those holes that they test at regionals in the open.
I think it's important for people to understand that the sanctional events, there's 18 of them on the calendar. Yeah. Those are not a replacement for the regionals. They're not a next step after the open. The sanctionals are independent events programmed by independent people that know and understand CrossFit certainly, but then they set their own criteria for their competition as they deem it appropriate for that competition and for what they want to test. So there's no continuity amongst the sanctionals, and it's not a progression because they don't know what the open workouts. They're not a progression from
they're not
the
testing
open.
What wasn't tested during
and
the
they're
open.
not taking athletes that are qualified through the open into their events. You have to qualify separately. So those are not a part of the progression anymore. So like you said, it will be up to Dave Castro and the CrossFit Games to essentially provide that missing link, which is the test of the regionals, which are heavier loads, harder workouts, more complexity in the gymnastics, and perhaps put some of that into the open. Yeah.
And with that being said, I mean, we might, like I said, we might see some people that would typically do the open completely RX. We might run into a situation where it's like, if you don't scale, you may stop after 1 or 2 rounds. If it's like an ascending barbell movement, it may be a quick short workout.
Which I'd be in favor of. I'd like it as often as possible for our members, for it to be as accessible as possible. I love that.
Especially for any other affiliate too, as far as space and logistics.
But there is danger in that as well, because you remember what was the workout where they had was it 14.1A and 14.1B?
The toes to bar and the clean and jerk.
Yeah, and then the clean and jerk. And there were separate workouts, and it was the first workout, and so people essentially sandbagged the first one. And then all the heavy hitters came in and hit these clean and jerk. Well, what that does is it gives these top athletes who are good at everything, good CrossFitters, gave them a very high score in that. But punished them essentially. And as you get later into the open, there are less people participating, so there's less scoring opportunities. And as soon as you get into CrossFit, then your scoring range of people that really you're going to be competing against are in this. Versus if it's just a strength workout, you got this many people that are going against each other.
Yeah.
So it's a challenging thing for CrossFit to think about. I hope that it is very inviting, but not damaging to those athletes that they want to qualify.
Yeah. And as far as like who's participating in the Open, I think this is something that a lot of people should consider. And the Open is a great time of the year to test yourself. I kind of look at the Open as the end year where it's like you see the progress that you've made in your life essentially over that last year. Are you healthier? Are you moving better? Are you able to do more skills? Are you able to put out a stronger capacity? Test yourself. And there's sometimes we might see somebody jump into the Open, maybe they got talked into it, or peer pressure can be a big thing, which is fine because being pushed outside of your comfort zone is important for growth. But when we do sign up for the Open, we should respect the Open as a competition and approach that workout as it's an event, not so much just your daily class workout. This is an event that you have somebody counting your reps, holding you accountable to your standards, which is what we should be practicing throughout the year. So when you do that event, don't do a class workout the day before or even the day of. You should go into that fresh and mentally prepared with some kind of a strategy to hit it with everything you have.
So this is Jamie Lee telling you that we will not be programming the Open workout into our class workouts. One, that's difficult because Jamie Lee's programming 6 weeks in advance. And he has no idea what to expect, and then runs the risk of duplicating movements.
And not everybody is doing the Open.
And not everybody's doing the Open. But the other thing is, and I think most important, especially for Diablo's heritage, as a gym that has participated in these competitions, has many athletes that have competed many years. This is a competition. And we respect it as such. It's not something to program into a class workout. It's something to be treated as a competition.
It's like a 5K. If you sign up for a 5K
or 10K,
you have a start time. You don't show up and have your coffee and I got to hit the restroom before we start. Hold on, don't start the start client, the timer.
Right. That's what
you have to start as if it's a competition. It's standardized in that way.
And we treat it as such. So here at the Diablo, we're going to be doing it this year. We're going to be a little bit different for the first Open. We're going to be doing Friday night lights this year instead of a Saturday main event. So you'll have your weekends back. But this also helps some of our athletes that want to do the workout 2 times and want to do it with the community. They'll be able to do it Friday evenings. And then if they want to repeat, then they have 2 days rest and they can do it again on a Monday if they need to, or maybe a Sunday if it's a shorter workout.
It's having that extra couple of days.
So we'll be going on Friday nights. What about your programming for Diablo, headed into this? What are your thoughts? We were working on handstand push-ups in January, February. I love it. We're working on toes to bar. Toes to bar will for sure be in the Open.
Toes to bar, we know we're going to see in the Open. We always do, and that's one of those movements that, it's more of there's definitely some strength involved, but it's also more of a skill and a timing. And that's something that is really a neurological adaptation, which is going to take practice. So having this time with some fresh practice going into this. The kipping movement pattern will also transfer over to your toes to bar, right? So there is a crossover there. As far as the overall programming, we're looking at triplets, couplets, classic CrossFit workouts, which are for you to go to the dark place. These are the ones that you want to go hard, have that taste of blood in the back of your throat, and just
this is something that Coach Pyam has said, and I've said in the past, if you want to do better at the Open, right, you need to learn to suffer.
It's that dark place.
And the best way to do that is with a couplet or a triplet, right? Just 2 movements, a timer and go. Right? Where you have no place to hide.
Put it all on that workout without thinking, oh, I've got to save energy for this, and this afterwards, or just hit it hard, 100%, 110%.
If we have members that want to do better, want to give themselves an extra edge in the Open this year versus say last year or the year before, what else would you recommend as a coach to them to do between now and the 3 weeks that we have until the Open begins?
I would honestly say, first and foremost, take care of your body, take care of your health. You know, like sleep, nutrition, have everything dialed in. So it's like when the open comes, it's competition time. This isn't the time that you get stronger. It's not the time that you improve your skills. Starting now, leading up to then, you have some time to improve your skills, improve some of that capacity and going to that dark place. You know, that's kind of the skill. You know, that skill between the ears is shutting it off and going. This is that time to experience that stuff, so when it shows up in the open, you're a little bit more prepared mentally for it.
That's true. I think that's one of the things. It's very difficult to get more fit now until the open. Right? If you're coming to class regularly, you're probably as fit as you're going to be. You may make a marginal improvement, but the risk of trying to get more fit between now and then is probably pretty high, especially if you consider sickness, injury, those types of things.
Yeah.
So you're better off maybe working on some skills, getting good
improving
rest,
your skills,
improving your skills, eating well, getting good sleep, drinking water.
Especially as we're still in this flu season, take care of your body, take care of your health. There's nothing worse than showing up the day of an open workout and then you got the flu.
Yeah, no, the open
had it. It's
the open is notorious. So that's when people are getting sick, and so think about that. If you're getting sick or you're sick now, take the time away from the gym to get better, heal up, and be ready to go.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else for February that we need to think about? Talk about?
Nothing that we need to think about necessarily, but we've got a couple fun things coming up. We're going to be doing some partner workouts. Cool. On Valentine's Day, we're going to have a partner workout. So, bring your Valentine for a fun little workout. Other than that, let's have some fun and get ready for the open.
Cool. Thanks, Jamie.
Absolutely.
Cheers, guys.